So in your project 3, now you're going to have 4 functions, right? Enter numbers, print array, max min num, and then sum average, okay? Now these 3 will use this because you have to enter a number to print the array, correct? Yes. You have to enter the numbers to you have to enter the numbers to you have to enter the numbers to determine max min num. You have to enter the number, so you have to enter the numbers to determine what's the maximum, minimum, and number. I'm sorry, what's the maximum, minimum numbers? You have to enter the numbers to determine the sum and the average, okay? Now, these 3 are not related, but this is interconnected, right? These 3 are interconnected. So obviously, if these are interconnected, so in other words, if you were to kind of draw this out, if I were to use, let's say, like a yellow thing, right? That this connects here, this uses this, and this uses that, right? So if this were to use this is dependent here. Obviously, I need a return. This has to have a return, and it's going to return something, right? Because it has an array, and I'm just going to pseudocode this. Let's call this array num, right? It has some sort of array that it's appending, right? Then this return that you're going to obviously have an append, right? That this array num that you're appending must return the array. So the value of this function here is the array, and that is step 1. Okay, just like the previous video, okay? It's returning an array. Now, I need to connect this to all this. How do I do that? Well, that's in the previous video. What we did was we set a value called, let's say, I don't know, you can call this x, right? Let's get rid of this. X equals what? X is equal to enter number. Once x is equal to the enter number, x is now a what? X is an array, right? This is now a value of an array, right? Okay, so what do we do? And so the array num, which is the array, is that value, and now this is enter numbers, which is equal to x. But I have to use, let's say on the print, I have to be able to use that. I have to use that array to print the array, right? So I need to bring this array here. How do I do that? I do the following, okay? I call print array. So this is obviously step 2, right? So let's write down step 2 is that array there, right? Then I have to utilize that. So how do I utilize that? So I would say print array of x, okay? Now this x value is obviously that x value. Let me write this again. This is kind of messy here. Let me put this up. Clean up this up here. I didn't really plan this out. It's kind of all over the place. Okay, let's do that again. So this x value here, right, is going to be what? This x value here. So you're going to transition this array. This is an array, and you're going to transition this to here. So this is step 3. Okay. Sorry for the mess. Okay. Now, what do you do here? Well, I have to pull this x value in. Okay, how do I pull that x value in? I would obviously have to have, and you can do your computation. So you can do some of your computation here, whatever that computation is, okay, with array, right? Whatever you're printing array, whatever you're trying to do, this is your y value. So your x has here. So now this is step 4. In step 4, what you're doing is you're sending your y value equal to that x. Okay, You see how this transitions? The array becomes enter numbers. This enter numbers becomes some sort of value x. This x goes in this parameter, then you flow it back in. This is a flow, okay? And you're going to do the same for this and this, okay? This is the key to how you're going to do your finish your project 3.